This week on Moonshine and Music.
A discussion that's really like kind of in the forefront of like country music right now, like pop versus traditional, and like I think
it's cool that they do more than
I love it. I love pop music. I love country music. I love it if you want to go ahead and experiment and mix elements like country music and like bluegrass music. Any music originated with innovation, right?
Yeah.
That's what makes a genre, is an innovation.
Hello everybody, welcome to Moonshine and Music, the perfect music show, episode 20. 4 more to go in season 1, and then we're going to see a few changes for season 2. Anyway, thank you for joining us today. My name is Joe Shelton, and I am the host of this program and your humble servant. Well, not really a servant, but I am humble, and I do appreciate you guys showing up and watching that podcast every week. Today's podcast is, especially interesting because we're bringing on to the podcast today a tandem that runs another podcast. They're Crook's Cabin. They're Mike Crook and Moriah Haven. Moriah Haven's voice in the last song that she sings today. Wow, amazing. So hang on, come on through for the interviews, and let's see what's up. Before we do that, though, I want to thank Brent Smith for hosting the shoot of the podcast, and I want to thank Eaton Media. Go to eatnewmedia.com if you need some video work done. Now, without goofing around anymore, let's do it. Moonshine and Music starts now. Welcome to Moonshine and Music. I'm here with Moriah Haven and Mike Crook. I'm trying to pronounce. It's not that I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I just couldn't say it. I don't know why. What's wrong with me today? So anyway, it's probably the heat.
I think that's getting to all of us. I think the heat index is like, a lot. 100
That's
million,
right.
I think, or something like that.
Well, and I'm not sure when the shows will air, but it's bound to be before it gets cooler. So,
Absolutely.
we can complain about the heat with impunity and not feel like it's a continuity thing.
Yeah, we don't have to worry. I think it's going to keep it up. It's not going to let us down, making us sweat.
It gives us a little more time out in the water.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like performers sweating. When does that happen?
Oh my! I never do that. On stage, I never come out. People are like, "Oh, I want to hug you," and I'm like, "But I smell like a landfill. You probably don't want to do that right now." But thank you.
Well, tell us a little bit about where you grew up, where you're from, and all of those things, because that's the story we're looking for, the underlying.
Well, myself, my background, my family's all from East Kentucky, and I grew up playing bluegrass, my family band, and that's definitely where my heart lies and where my background is. And Mike comes from a similar roots background.
Yeah, very similar. Most of my family were from West Virginia, and learned to listen to my grandpa playing the banjo, and just kind of stuck with me.
Yeah, I fell asleep listening to the banjo. My dad is a banjo player, and I think that was my soundtrack for a lullaby half my childhood. You wouldn't think of a banjo as something to soothe you to sleep, but I had to get used to it. Dad practicing his role in there.
So was he a musician for a living, or did he do something else?
No, he was a machinist for a long time, and then a carpenter, and then the family band has just always kind of done festivals here and there. Lost and Reunion Band's the name.
So down in Eastern Kentucky?
Yep, that's where it all started. My grandma, her whole family, the family reunion was always like a big well, moonshine and music, you know what I mean? Cookout. So,
A shindig? As they call it down there?
Menifee County, everybody be out there clogging, you know, a little more apple pie went around, a little more clogging going down, you know, so it was a good time.
Well, you know, as long as they have apple pie, it can't be all bad, right?
There's never anything wrong with that. You know?
As a matter of fact, I just got a good shot of that.
Yeah.
Good shot of the apple pie moonshine that's on the table today.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't disappointed that it was literally moonshine and music.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it sometimes literally is. Sometimes the guy who's supposed to buy the moonshine forgets to do that. That happens.
Well, yeah, moonshine tends to have that effect. I heard from a friend. I don't know myself.
It loosens people up.
Yeah,
Right?
you're right.
Yeah, very much so.
Loosens up your lyrics and they fly right out of your brain. That happens sometimes.
You know, so you grew up listening to the banjo and all that. So when you were a kid, I mean, what did you want to do growing up? Did you want to be a singer? Did you want to do that?
Yeah.
Is it is it their whole dream? I mean, both of you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll be quite honest with you. When I was a young kid, the whole British invasion, you know, I was like fixated on that. And just the different sounds that were being made and the innovation of the music really caught my ear and made me start thinking, wow, you know, that's kind of neat. I'd like to be able to do that, you know. And like I said, I've got a lot of family musicians. My brother was a drummer in several bands in Atlanta, and you know, we get together and have a good time. And it's really just about being able to touch somebody. You know, if I can make you feel something in a song, then I've done my part. You know, I've done what I set out to do.
Yeah.
So do you guys always write your music together, or do you write them apart, or?
Well, we've actually only co-written one song that we're going to perform today,
Right.
Soft Place to Land. But before that, you know, we've both been just, you know, singer-songwriters independently and been friends for several years. And then this past January, we kind of just took it to the next level as far as that part goes.
Yeah, totally unexpected.
Yeah.
That's kind of where Soft Place to Land came from.
Yeah.
As we got to talking, I realized how much crap that this lady has been through, and you know, everybody needs a soft place to land, you know, and that just kept rolling through my head like, you know, let me be your soft place to land. And all of a sudden this song started evolving, and I played the first verse and the chorus, and it was within minutes she had the second verse with the callback, which just absolutely blew my mind. Yeah.
Well, it was honest, so it came really easily. You
really
know, yeah, I think we've both been writing songs for years, and that's all I ever wanted to do my whole life since I was a little girl, is sing, you know. And
What inspired you to that? Were there certain musicians, groups? What was the spark?
I think the biggest inspiration probably was my family and my grandmother, who's also a pastor. I grew up singing in her church, and as a songwriter and musician, in a lot of ways, I think she might be really my biggest influence, and just as a human being, you know, she's not just my grandma, she's not just somebody who taught me all the old folk tunes, you know, and passed that, you know, the Appalachian ballads and all that down, but she's also a spiritual leader, and, you know, just a really, really amazing little lady. And I think just growing up around her and singing in her church, and that's where I really cut my teeth on learning how to improvise and how to sing harmonies and all those things. So that really, I think, shaped my experience as a musician the most, like growing up in Grandma's church playing and, you know, playing with the family band. But then also just classic artists like, of course, Patsy Cline, Alison Krauss is a huge influence, you know, that
Yeah.
I like anything and everything. Yeah.
My influences were more like the Marshall Tucker, the British Invasion, of course, the Beatles and the Stones and all that. That was like when I was really young, growing up, so I got to experience that whole thing. But then I started getting into Southern rock, and but I didn't like just what was played on the radio every day. I wanted to hear what they were doing on the B-side. You know what I mean? and I actually found out that there's a lot of really good music that way. So,
well, I find, and that's an interesting topic. I mean, being as we're both kind of country music people,
right.
There's a lot of folks that go, they diss like a megastar because the stuff on the radio or whatever. A great example for me is Luke Bryan.
Oh yeah.
He puts these songs out that are definitely meant to get the attention of the mainstream. But if you grab his record and kind of dig into some of it, there's some really great other tracks.
Right. Right.
Like there always are. Like everyone, I try to defend him that way, but I lose like all the time. But what I'm telling you, I mean, most of the time, what I really love about him is track 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
They're really, really well written, down home country style kind of songs that I know that he honestly likes. It's got to be that because they're so different from like the first 4 or 5 tracks, which are kind of pop dance country songs.
Well, I think that's like a discussion that's really like kind of in the forefront of like country music right now, like pop versus traditional, and like I think it's cool that they do more than I love it. I love pop music. I love country music. I love if you want to go ahead and experiment and mix elements like country music and like bluegrass music. Any music originated with innovation, right? That's what makes a genre is an innovation. So
you can always say really when it comes to country, and I think you've told me this several times. 3 chords and the truth.
Well, pop songs are always 3 chords.
That's the thing. When you get down to the nitty gritty and you get down to theory, it's all
F3.
You throw the 4th one in on Lost.
Yeah. I mean, like early Beatles, they're all like 3 chords, and then suddenly they got really complicated.
So, and I did about 5.5 years traveling with a group called Easy Creek as a front man for them, and really it was pretty cool because I had 6 songwriters and 6 singers.
Wow! So you probably had a variety of stuff.
Oh, we had.
Did you guys do records?
Yeah, we were pressed. We did 3 CDs. The last one was called Third Time's a Charm, and it did really well. It's on Bandcamp. You can go and listen to that.
All right. If you guys send me along whatever links, I'll put them in the show notes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
What's your current stuff that you got out there? Do you have a current record out?
Not together. The last project that I put out was an EP called The Growth Project, and that was like a real, speaking of like mixing elements of different genres, it was like an experiment with mixing like Appalachian-inspired melodies with like ambient electronic elements, and sort of like keeping with like sort of the skeleton of roots music, but adding like these ambient sounds and creating little soundscapes. But what I'm working on right now is we're working on putting together some skits and comedy songs for a concept character that I perform as sometimes, named Sassy Molasses. And
I've seen the character online.
She's a real ornery gal. Yeah.
She's a little over the top.
She's a slightly hyperbolized version of myself.
Slightly? I would say a lot.
Yeah. She's the part I just keep under wraps, I got to keep it polite, but sassy when I want to get sassy, that's my avenue. So, but yeah, she's...
And you guys also, I know you guys own a store, is that correct?
Well, I have a little boutique called the Haven Boutique right now. It's just online. We're building our online store. We had a brick and mortar, but got to kind of retool that situation. So we're looking for a new, actual brick and mortar location. But
and not only will we have the boutique when we find the new location, we're going to make sure that there's always live music there. And just, everybody come in, throw a tip jar on there, and if you walk in, it doesn't matter if you come in at 2 in the afternoon or 8 at night. That's kind of what we're trying to do, is just get someplace where everybody just feels comfortable coming in. Not so much a bar, more like a coffee shop.
Well, it's called the Haven,
But her boutique.
Obviously, it's a play on my name, but also, like, it's supposed to be like a safe place, that everybody can come, just be themselves, and whoever you are, wherever you're from, and just
hang out and
check out some funky little curated goods and things, and jewelry that I make. So, it's just kind of and curating art, from other local artists and crafters. So that's kind of the mission. Yeah,
that's really cool. I've checked out the Haven Boutique online on the way, and I was like, whoa, there's lots of eclectic things in there.
Yeah, they're all like hand-picked little, funky finds that I used to work for an estate company for a while, and I got to kind of learn a lot about antiques and things like that, and I specialized in jewelry, but it's kind of like a mini version of that.
It's been kind of a real blessing to have somebody who knows how to look up all the background on everything to find the values. So,
I like to research things. Kind of a nerd.
He's like,
bookworm
she's my computer person.
Yeah.
That's exactly
I can see
right.
it in your eyes.
Go do the nerdy stuff, Moriah. I have that under control. You need a nerd? I'm here.
That's it, exactly.
So you guys also do a podcast over in Ohio, and it's called Crooks Cabin. I'm going to be on there.
Yes,
so talk a little bit about that. What made you decide to do that, and what your goals are with your show?
Well, when I first moved to the cabin, I was at a kind of a very bad spot in my life, but the acoustics in there, I would sit and play, and the acoustics in there are just amazing. And I kept thinking, man, there's so much talent out here that is not getting any publicity. And I thought, well, you know what? I'd like to have people in, all original music, play right there out of the cabin, kind of like Daryl's house. It was kind of like inspired by that,
It's like a little low-key version, but no audience, just intimate, just in front of the fireplace, just like you're listening to someone singing in your living room.
It's just a very mellow, kind of lo-fi setting. It's done on a budget, that is like,
Sounds like our budget.
It's DIY style, but it's just about, the mission is really, like you said, sharing just the local love, and just letting people, give them a chance to share whatever it is about themselves as an artist or a human being that they want to share with the world, on our little podcast, so that's really been the mission. Mm-hmm.
Well, we've talked a lot now
Yeah.
and got to know each other. So you want to put together some tunes for everybody?
I think we can manage that.
Yeah,
I mean, we even
good.
fed you some chicken or something.
I'm all fueled up and ready to go. So
All
these
right.
guys are great hosts. We're ready to rock.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I'll
I
tell you
like
what,
being
it's really
called
a
great.
pleasure being
We're trying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say we're a little bit at average, and we're working towards great. But
Hey, that's what all the humble people doing the good things say. So there you go.
I'll tell you,
Okay.
it really is a pleasure to be here, because we've been following you, and you really have a nice production.
Well, thank you very much. We
Really
work
nice.
hard over here, and I can't wait to be on your show.
Yeah.
It'll be kind of cool to go and play music for the people that watch yours, and
Right.
and I'm excited to have you play for ours. So
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, we're coming right back. We're gonna have Moriah Haven and Mike Crook, and they're gonna play some music for us here on Moonshine and Music. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us out.
Thank you, Joe.
Next week on Moonshine and Music, Jeff Kelly is in the house. He's going to play some fantastic folk rock tunes. And they sound like this.
In the hardest part of waking up, saddest part of us, the hardest part of waking up is it doesn't mean a thing.
It's about being out on the road for a long time. You get to missing people. But at any rate, that's what this song was about. I wrote it about 7 years ago. It always seems to get a good response. So we're going to kick off with that.
Out there
I'm gone. Yeah, you know I think about you when I'm gone. Yeah, you know I think about you when I'm gone. Yeah, I can't wait to get myself back home. Thank you. This next song, Moriah Lawson over here, and I have been friends for about 3 years, and we played music together a couple times. Well, she happened to stop by my house on New Year's Eve. Well, it snowed like crazy, and you know, she spent 4 days with me, and I can't get rid of her now, so yeah.
He's a crook because he stole my heart, I reckon.
Yeah, she got it. But anyhow, she was telling me about some of the troubles in her life, some of the things she's been through. And I kept thinking about everybody needs a soft place to land. So
People need each other. So people need each other, yeah.
yeah, certainly she right. Okay, so this song, it kept going through my head. I came up with the first verse and the chorus, and within 5 minutes she had the second verse, and just really, she won my heart. So we're going to start off with this one here. When I look into your pretty eyes, man, it really makes me feel alive. All I know is I wanna be a woman. And darling,
someplace to land. You're done and let me be. You're someplace to land.
And Miss Moriah Haven on the mandolin. Yeah.
All right. This next tune is one I talked about earlier. I grew up singing at my grandma's church, and I guess this one's definitely it's a gospel song, even though you might not know it at first. It's called Change Up. Gotta get that change up in ya. Gotta get that change up in ya. Well, it's set your chest and rest on fire. Gotta get that change up in ya. Gotta let that loving flow from deep in ya. Gotta let that loving flow from deep up in ya. Well, yes, mine set your chest and rest on fire. You gotta get that change up in ya. Gotta get that Holy Ghost up in ya. Gotta get that Holy Ghost up in ya. Well, yeah, mine set your chest and the rest on fire. Gotta get that change up in ya. Gotta get that change up in ya.
Moriah Haven.
Oh, yes, that's the voice we wanted to hear right there. Moriah Haven rocking out on the patio at Brent Smith's house and the Moonshine and Music Studios, of course. Anyway, thanks for joining us today for episode 20. Next week, we're going to have Jeff Kelly on board. You will love Jeff. Jeff's great, and he is a great friend of the show, great friend of mine, and it's really good to have him on the show next week. Thank you for joining us. If you're interested in checking out the back episodes of the podcast, those are available on YouTube and iTunes, Spotify, and also on Podbean. So go out there and hit the subscribe button, hit like, click the notifications, all of that stuff. That'd be great, because we would love you to come and watch all of the episodes. Please leave some comments for us in some of those posts. I mean, sending us email and stuff is great. You can do that. But if you want to leave us some public comments, we'd love to have a little chit chat about the show, about the artist, whatever you want to do. So, hey, go ahead and do that. It's free, doesn't cost anything, and we'd love to have you back again next time for Moonshine and Music. Moonshine and Music is a presentation of Eaton New Media in association with Not Less Entertainment. Producers for today's program are Brandon Lay and Joe Shelton. Be sure to join us next time on Moonshine and Music.